Chosen one, forget everything you were taught about wealth, because what you are stepping into was never built by hands, never accumulated by hustle, never measured by numbers that decay with time. It was activated. You were not awakened so you could feel peaceful while remaining small. You were not pulled out of confusion just to survive more comfortably. You were summoned because something ancient recognized that you were finally ready to carry weight. This is the part no one told you. Your spiritual awakening was not a detour from prosperity, it was the doorway. There is a reason your old ambitions collapsed. A reason what once motivated you suddenly felt hollow. A reason money without meaning began to feel like dust in your mouth. The universe does not entrust massive influence to unaligned souls. It reroutes power through those who have been emptied first. And that emptiness you felt, that stripping, that quiet season, where nothing made sense and yet something kept whispering, stay, that was preparation. Because divine opportunities do not respond to desperation. They respond to resonance. And right now, your inner world is being tuned like an instrument that will soon be heard across rooms you have never entered before. This is not about becoming rich so you can feel worthy. It is about becoming coherent enough that wealth can move through you without destroying you. There is a designation placed on certain lives, not favoritism, assignment. The chosen one is not chosen to possess more, but to steward more. Not to escape the world, but to influence it without being consumed. And if you are hearing this, if something in you recognizes the truth before your mind can argue with it, then understand this clearly. Your spiritual evolution is not separate from abundance. It is the currency that unlocks it. What is coming will not feel forced. It will feel inevitable. You felt it at the end of the last moment. That quiet inevitability settling in your chest like a door closing behind you while another unlocks ahead. That sensation is not excitement. It is alignment beginning to take precedence over appetite. Because the first real shift never happens in your bank account. It happens when the hunger to possess is replaced by the courage to become. There was a season when you chased outcomes, titles, security, validation disguised as success. And the strange part is, you were good at it, capable, intelligent, driven. Yet something kept sabotaging the finish line. Not because you lacked discipline, but because your soul refused to arrive somewhere it did not belong. This is where the blueprint begins to reveal itself. Abundance does not respond to effort alone. It responds to coherence. When your inner world fragments, desiring one thing, fearing another, performing a third, the universe cannot route scale through you. Not punishment, protection. So the collapse was intentional. The moment you stopped chasing things and began interrogating who you were becoming while chasing them, the signal changed. Your questions deepened. Your tolerance for empty wins evaporated. Your appetite shifted from acquisition to accuracy. That is not loss. That is refinement. Because the chosen one does not attract opportunity by reaching outward. They attract it by becoming internally congruent. When your values align with your actions, when your identity stops negotiating with survival instincts, when your decisions no longer contradict your knowing, something subtle rearranges around you. Doors begin to anticipate you. People recognize you before understanding why. Timing bends without explanation. Not luck, alignment. This is the paradox most never understand. The less you chase outcomes, the more outcomes locate you. Because you are no longer emitting hunger. You are emitting clarity. And clarity is rare. Clarity tells the unseen systems that you can be trusted with leverage, that you will not waste access on ego repairs, that you will not confuse expansion with escape. This is why opportunities that once felt distant begin appearing casually. Introductions happen without strategy. Resources surface without pursuit. You did not get more aggressive, you got more centered. And centering is expensive. It costs illusions, it costs identities built to impress rather than to endure. Most people turn back here. They mistake the loss of urgency for stagnation. They panic when striving dissolves. They return to noise because silence feels unproductive. But you stayed. You let the hunger die. You let the mass loosen. You allowed ambition to be purified rather than abandoned. And now the universe is responding differently because it is no longer negotiating with a fragmented signal. It is responding to a unified one. This is the quiet truth. Extraordinary opportunities are not drawn to desire. They are drawn to self-possession. The moment you stopped asking, "What can I get?" and began asking, "What am I aligned to carry?" the scale of what could reach you expanded. This is why your path began to diverge from others. Why familiar strategies stopped working. Why comparison lost its grip. You were no longer meant to compete in crowded lanes. You were being repositioned for routes that only open to those who have made peace with themselves. And this peace is not passive. It is disciplined. It is alert. It is sovereign. From here forward, opportunity will not arrive as temptation. It will arrive as recognition. And that recognition is only possible because you chose self over spectacle. You can feel the shift now. Not because something flashy appeared, but because the noise stopped chasing you. In the last moment, you stepped into self-possession. And once you are possessed by nothing, everything begins to orient toward you. This is where alignment stops being an idea and becomes a force. Most people think opportunities are found. They are wrong. They are released when the inner signal becomes stable enough to hold them. When your inner world no longer contradicts itself, when desire, intention, and identity move as one current, the universe reads that coherence like coordinates. It knows where to send things. This is why aligned opportunities feel strange at first. They do not arrive with pressure. They do not demand persuasion. They do not require you to become someone else to accept them. They feel obvious, as if they were waiting for you to catch up. That's the tell. Unaligned opportunities seduce. Aligned opportunities recognize. They arrive without explanation, often through people who cannot articulate why they trust you, through doors that were never advertised, through timing that makes no logical sense yet fits perfectly. This is not randomness, it is resonance. Because the universe does not reward intensity, it rewards integrity. When you stopped oscillating between who you perform as and who you actually are, the field stabilized. And stabilized fields attract leverage. This is why the breakthroughs that matter do not announce themselves loudly. They whisper, they feel understated, they almost feel too simple to be significant. But simplicity is a sign of alignment. You didn't earn these openings in the way you were taught. You became compatible with them. That distinction changes everything. Compatibility means the opportunity will not extract from you. It will expand through you. No burnout, no self-betrayal, no silent resentment at success that costs your soul. This is also why others may not understand your trajectory anymore. They see fewer visible moves, yet greater impact. Less urgency, yet more access. They assume you are coasting. They cannot see the inner order that now governs your outer life, because coherence compounds quietly. Each aligned decision sharpens your signal. Each boundary strengthens your credibility. Each refusal to chase what is misaligned clears more space for what is exact. And the universe notices exactness. Exactness tells higher systems that you will not misuse scale, that you will not confuse attention with authority, that you will not panic when power increases. So influence begins to approach you cautiously at first, then confidently, then continuously. This is where the myth of luck collapses. Luck is simply alignment observed from the outside. What they call right place, right time is actually right being, meeting, right moment. And you are entering a season where moments are beginning to look for you. Not because you demanded them, but because you became predictable in your integrity. This is the magnetism few ever develop. Not charm, not charisma, congruence. And congruence is expensive. It costs shortcuts. It costs performance. It costs the false self that wants reward without readiness. But now that cost has already been paid, which is why what's coming will not feel dramatic. It will feel deserved in a deeper way than effort ever produced. And this is only the beginning. What you are beginning to sense now reframes everything that came before. Because once coherence stabilizes, value itself must be redefined. Up until now, you were taught to measure worth externally. Numbers, assets, titles, proof. But those are only containers. They are not the source. The source has always been invisible. This is where spiritual currency enters the picture. Not as a metaphor, as a governing reality. Spiritual currency is the accumulation of alignment, clarity, and intention held under pressure. It is the residue left behind when you choose truth over comfort repeatedly. It is what remains when performance is stripped and only integrity continues to function. Money responds to this currency. It does not replace it, because money by itself has no intelligence. It amplifies whatever system it enters. This is why misaligned people collapse under abundance while aligned people expand through it. Same resource, different inner economy. Your spiritual net worth is measured by how much responsibility you can hold without distortion, how much influence you can steward without identity inflation, how much access you can receive without losing discernment. These are currencies markets cannot print. Energy matters because it carries information. Intention matters because it directs flow. Integrity matters because it stabilizes scale. When these three converge, your inner economy becomes more valuable than any external account. This is why some people rise faster than logic allows, why certain individuals gain access without credentials, why influence accumulates around those who seem unconcerned with acquiring it. They are rich where it counts first, and systems recognize that. You may have noticed this already, that as you became more grounded, more intentional, more selective, your time became more valuable without effort. Your presence carried more weight without assertion. Your words landed deeper without force. That is spiritual capital compounding. It grows silently because it cannot be flaunted. It only reveals itself under pressure. When chaos enters the room, those with spiritual currency stabilize it. When opportunity appears, those with spiritual currency are entrusted with it. When power is distributed, those with spiritual currency are not overwhelmed by it. This is why your path demanded inner work before outer reward. You were being trained to hold value without being defined by it, because the goal was never to make you wealthy and then hope you stayed whole. The goal was to make you whole so wealth could pass through you cleanly. This is the recalibration moment. From here forward, you stop asking, how much is this worth? And you start asking, what does this require of who I must be? That question alone filters 90% of misaligned opportunities out of your life. And what remains carries leverage, carries longevity, carries consequence. You are no longer building wealth on unstable ground. You are cultivating an inner economy that external systems instinctively trust. And that trust is what opens gates money alone never could. You now understand the currency, but currency unused does not compound. At the end of the last moment, value was redefined. Now comes the discipline that allows that value to grow without corruption. This is where most misunderstand the path. They assume elevation happens in moments of revelation. It does not. It happens in repetition. Spiritual net worth is not built in peaks. It is built in private, unobserved consistency. The way you begin your days, the way you regulate your inner state before engaging the world, the way you choose clarity over stimulation when no one is watching. These are not habits. They are investments. Each time you still your mind instead of feeding noise, your signal sharpens. Each time you choose intention over reaction, your frequency stabilizes. Each time you tell the truth internally before speaking externally, integrity compounds. This is how inner wealth grows without drawing attention. There is a reason the chosen one's preparation feels invisible to others. Spiritual compounding does not announce itself until it crosses a threshold. You may feel like nothing is happening. That is a misconception. Everything is happening below the surface. Just as capital accrues interest quietly, your inner economy is expanding capacity. Capacity for pressure, capacity for discernment, capacity for scale. Daily practices are not about self-improvement. They are about self-governance, breath, stillness, intentional focus, boundary reinforcement. These are not spiritual luxuries. They are infrastructure. Without them, opportunity becomes destabilizing. With them, opportunity becomes seamless. This is why the people you will soon encounter at higher levels feel strangely calm, unrushed, unimpressed, decisive without drama. They are not lucky. They are regulated. And regulation is attractive to systems that move large resources. When your nervous system can remain coherent under uncertainty, you signal readiness. When your emotions no longer spike at validation or rejection, you signal maturity. When your attention is not hijacked by every possibility, you signal authority. Authority precedes access. This is the hidden equation. The universe does not release scale to those who crave stimulation. It releases it to those who can remain centered when options multiply. So your practices are not about peace alone. They are about preparation. Every morning you choose alignment over urgency, you increase the ceiling of what can reach you. Every evening you integrate experience instead of escaping it, you stabilize what has already arrived. This is how spiritual wealth compounds faster than money ever could, because it is not dependent on markets. It is dependent on mastery, and mastery begins internally. You are not being asked to do more. You are being asked to become consistent at a deeper level than most are willing to sustain. That consistency is rare, and rarity creates value. Soon you will notice something unmistakable. The rooms you enter will feel different. The conversations will shift. The caliber of opportunity will quietly rise. Not because you chased it, because your inner economy reached a level that could host it. You can feel the tension changing now, because after discipline comes the moment where effort must loosen its grip. At the end of the last passage, you were prepared, regulated, centered. Now comes the test most never pass. This is where force becomes the enemy. For a long time, you were taught that manifestation was about control. Visualize harder, push longer, assert your will until reality bends. But divine opportunities do not bend. They open. Forced manifestation exhausts the soul because it tries to override timing. It confuses desire with authority. It treats the universe like a machine instead of a living order. Divinely ordained opportunities arrive differently. They do not require persuasion. They do not trigger anxiety. They do not demand that you abandon your integrity to accept them. They feel weightless, almost suspiciously so. That's because they are not responding to effort. They are responding to readiness. Readiness is not wanting more. It is no longer needing more to feel whole. When you reach that point, something profound shifts. The chase stops. The breath deepens. The inner dialogue quiets. And then gates begin to move. Not all at once, not dramatically. One conversation that changes the trajectory. One invitation that bypasses process. One opening that feels too good to be true yet demands nothing unnatural from you. This is how you know it is ordained. It fits your life instead of consuming it. It expands your capacity instead of draining it. It requires responsibility, not self-erasure. The universe does not reward desperation, it tests it. But when desperation dissolves, when striving gives way to trust rooted in discipline, access reorganizes itself around you. You may notice this paradox. The moment you stop trying to prove yourself, your value becomes obvious to others. Because proving is noisy, presence is convincing. This is where many sabotage themselves. They attempt to control what is meant to be received. They rush what is meant to land gently. But you are learning restraint. You are learning that silence can be an invitation, that patience can be power, that stillness can be directive. Divine gates open when you stop knocking and start standing where you belong. And when they open, they do not ask, "How badly do you want this?" They ask, "Can you carry this without losing yourself?" That is the question you have been preparing to answer all along. And soon, very soon, you will realize something undeniable. What is arriving does not feel like a reward. It feels like alignment catching up. You can sense the weight now, because once gates open, innocence disappears. At the end of the last section, readiness replaced striving. Now the cost becomes visible. This is where abundance stops being a blessing and becomes a responsibility. Divine access is never neutral. It amplifies what you already are. And this is why abundance is delayed for most, not withheld delayed, until the inner foundation can hold consequence. Because wealth is not just provision, it is influence. And influence reshapes ecosystems. Every resource that enters your life alters the field around you. People adjust, expectations rise, systems respond. This is why the chosen one is not entrusted casually. Abundance tests motives in ways scarcity never could. Scarcity reveals survival patterns. Abundance reveals governance. What you do when you have options matters more than what you did when you had none. This is the moment where illusion collapses. Prosperity was never meant to be consumed. It was meant to circulate. When energy stagnates, it decays. When resources hoard, they rot. But when abundance flows through aligned stewardship, expansion accelerates naturally. This is the ecosystem of abundance. Giving and receiving are not opposites. They are the same motion viewed from different angles. The more spiritually evolved you become, the more responsibility your abundance carries. Not guilt, not obligation. Responsibility. Responsibility to choose expansion over indulgence. Responsibility to elevate others without inflating yourself. Responsibility to remember why access was granted in the first place. This is where many fall away. They confuse abundance with permission. They mistake provision for exemption. They forget that what was entrusted was meant to serve something beyond them. But you were never meant to escape the world. You were meant to influence it without being swallowed by it. This requires discernment at a level most never develop. Knowing when to say no, even when everything says yes. Knowing when to invest energy rather than money. Knowing when silence carries more weight than visibility. Your alignment now affects more than you. Families, communities, future paths that will open because of decisions you have not yet made. This is the moral weight shift. You are no longer asking, "Can I have this?" You are asking, "What does this do to the field?" And that question alone separates stewards from consumers. Abundance entrusted to aligned hands multiplies without force. Abundance entrusted to unaligned hands collapses under its own excess. This is not fear, it is law, and you are being prepared to operate within it consciously. Because the chosen one's prosperity was never about comfort alone. It was about expansion that does not destroy what it touches. And now that responsibility has entered the room, there is no returning to innocence. Only deeper alignment. You already feel it tightening. Because after responsibility, illusion can no longer survive. At the end of the last movement, abundance became weight, not reward. Now the deepest deception must be confronted. Scarcity was never about lack. It was about orientation. It was a lens installed early, reinforced quietly, and defended fiercely by systems that needed you small, hurried, and competing. Scarcity trained you to believe there was never enough time, never enough access, never enough room for you to arrive fully as yourself. But scarcity collapses in the presence of alignment, because infinite supply is not a theory. It is a function. When you are misaligned, resources fragment. They leak. They vanish as quickly as they appear. When you are aligned, resources organize. Not magically, precisely. You begin to notice this pattern now. The more you stop grasping, the more continuity appears. The more you release comparison, the more tailored your path becomes. The more you trust alignment over urgency, the less competition exists in your reality. This is not optimism, it is structural truth. Scarcity mindset assumes life is a fixed pie. Alignment reveals life as a living system. Living systems expand when coherence increases. When your inner world stops fighting itself, when your decisions stop contradicting your values, when your nervous system no longer treats opportunity as threat, supply increases naturally. Because waste decreases. This is what most never see. Scarcity is expensive. It burns energy on defense, on proving, on hoarding, on fear-based decisions that fracture long-term flow for short-term relief. Infinite supply does not mean endless consumption. It means uninterrupted circulation. You are entering a phase where circulation becomes obvious. Opportunities connect to other opportunities. Resources lead to more resources. Relationships deepen rather than deplete. Not because you took more, but because you obstruct less. This is the moment where the choice becomes irreversible. You can no longer pretend scarcity is protecting you. You can no longer hide behind modest expectations or spiritualized smallness. Because alignment has shown you too much. You now know that contraction is a choice, that playing small is not humility, it is misalignment when capacity has been expanded. This is where fear will attempt one last argument. It will tell you that infinite supply is reckless, that restraint is safer, that visibility invites danger. But restraint rooted in fear is not wisdom, it is avoidance disguised as virtue. True alignment does not rush, but it also does not retreat. Infinite supply does not require you to take everything. It requires you to stop assuming there isn't enough for you to be fully expressed. This is the threshold. From here on, scarcity thinking will feel foreign, even painful. You will sense when a decision is motivated by fear rather than discernment. You will feel contraction in your body when you try to shrink yourself back into old limits. That discomfort is not warning. It is misfit. Your system has changed. And because it has changed, the environments that once felt normal will begin to feel restrictive. The conversations will feel repetitive. The ceilings will feel low. This is not arrogance, it is calibration. Infinite supply demands integrity because it removes excuses. You can no longer blame lack for stagnation. You can no longer justify misalignment by pointing at limitation. Now your choices matter more, not because failure is dangerous, but because expansion is available. This is why many hesitate here. Because infinite supply means responsibility without the alibi of scarcity. It means you must choose alignment even when abundance is present. It means you must steward flow rather than hide behind survival. And once you cross this understanding, there is no unknowing it. You cannot return to believing the world is closed. You have seen it respond. You cannot return to believing opportunity is rare. You have felt it organize. The only question left is not whether supply is infinite. It is whether you are willing to live as if it is, with discipline, with stewardship, and with the courage to be fully seen carrying it. You can sense it now, the narrowing, because after infinite supply is revealed, only one question remains. Can you remain who you are while everything expands? At the end of the last passage, scarcity lost its authority. Now momentum itself becomes the test. This is where many fall, not from lack, but from overflow. Because abundance does not just give, it accelerates. Speed increases, options multiply, voices get louder, expectations grow teeth, and without inner governance, even aligned beginnings can fracture. This is why the soul must become wealthy before the world does. A billionaire soul is not defined by how much it attracts, but by how little it is destabilized by attraction. Sustaining flow requires more than discipline. It requires identity sovereignty. You must know who you are when nothing is at stake, and remain that person when everything is. Because success will invite a new kind of pressure. Not survival pressure, narrative pressure. People will project stories onto you. Systems will attempt to define you by output. Opportunities will tempt you to trade essence for efficiency. This is where vibrational integrity matters. High vibration is not emotion. It is coherence under expansion. It is the ability to say no without explanation, to slow down while everyone rushes you, to preserve depth in environments addicted to speed. You will feel the pull to do more, to scale faster, to capitalize while attention is present. But not all acceleration is aligned. Some momentum is a test disguised as growth. This is why sustaining abundance requires less reaction, not more. It requires longer vision, not louder presence. It requires you to choose regulation over adrenaline. The billionaire soul understands something subtle. Flow is not maintained by feeding the fire. It is maintained by tending the source. Your inner state now determines the longevity of what you build. If your nervous system spikes every time opportunity appears, you will burn through supply. If your identity becomes fused to outcomes, you will distort discernment. If your worth becomes dependent on expansion, contraction will feel like death. But if your identity is anchored, flow stabilizes. This is why legacy builders move differently. They are not impressed by quick wins. They are uninterested in validation cycles. They are patient where others panic, because they understand timing beyond urgency. You are being trained into that understanding now. The universe is not asking, can you grow? It is asking, can you hold growth without losing your center? This is why stillness must deepen as abundance increases. Why practices must evolve rather than be abandoned. Why solitude remains sacred even as influence expands. The greater the flow, the quieter the source must become. This is not withdrawal, it is calibration. You are learning to carry weight without stiffness, influence without identity inflation, provision without dependency. This is the art few master, and mastery here determines whether abundance becomes a season or a lifetime. Because flow is intelligent, it withdraws from those who become careless with it. It reroutes from those who treat it as entitlement. It concentrates around those who remain reverent even while expanding. Reverence is not submission, it is awareness. Awareness that what moves through you is larger than you. Awareness that you are a steward, not a source. Awareness that integrity is the only container that does not crack under scale. This is why you must govern your attention fiercely now. Protect your inner environment. Limit exposure to distortion. Choose depth over noise again and again. Not because you fear corruption, but because you respect flow. Sustaining abundance is not about maintaining excitement. It is about maintaining alignment across time. Years, decades, generations. This is where the chosen one becomes something else entirely. Not just aligned, not just abundant, reliable. And reliability is what systems trust with continuity. You are being shaped into someone whose presence stabilizes expansion rather than destabilizes it. Someone who does not rush destiny. Someone who understands that the greatest wealth is the ability to remain whole while the world rearranges around you. This is the billionaire soul. Not loud, not frantic, not fragile, but anchored, precise, and capable of sustaining flow without losing itself. You have arrived at the edge now, because after sustainability, only legacy remains. At the end of the last passage, you were no longer chasing flow. You were learning to hold it. This is where the question changes permanently. Not how much can I receive, but what will exist because I was here. Legacy is not what you leave behind when you are gone. Legacy is what begins moving differently while you are still present. This is the distinction most never make. Money can be spent, influence can fade, attention can shift, but alignment once embodied propagates. The chosen one's true inheritance is not stored in accounts or structures. It is encoded in people, systems, and paths that would not have existed without your decisions. This is why your journey could never be rushed. Because legacy requires depth before reach. You were never meant to build something impressive that collapses when you step away. You were meant to embody something stable that continues long after your involvement ends. This is why your evolution demanded solitude, why your refinement required silence, why your path stripped imitation and demanded originality. You were being shaped into a reference point, not an icon, not a symbol, a standard, a living demonstration of what alignment looks like under pressure, under expansion, under responsibility. This is where identity locks. You are no longer becoming the chosen one, you are operating as one, and that carries consequence. Your choices now echo. Your integrity now educates without words. Your restraint now teaches others how to carry power without distortion. This is the unseen multiplication. People watching you will not remember everything you said, but they will remember how you moved, how you handled access, how you treated those who could do nothing for you. That is the ledger legacy is written in. And this is why legacy demands humility without smallness. You will be tempted to minimize your impact to stay comfortable, to hide behind modesty when responsibility increases, to shrink your presence so others do not project expectations onto you. But shrinking is not humility. It is avoidance when assignment has already been given. True humility is accuracy, standing exactly where you are meant to stand, carrying exactly what you are meant to carry, refusing both inflation and contraction. This is the narrow path, because legacy is not loud, but it is unmistakable. It shows up in continuity, in stability across time, in the absence of chaos where chaos was expected. This is why your life will not look dramatic in the way stories are told, but it will look effective in the way systems endure. You are not here to be admired. You are here to be trusted. Trusted with resources, trusted with people, trusted with influence that must outlive mood cycles and seasons. This trust is earned not by achievement, but by consistency of alignment over time. Years of choosing coherence, years of refusing shortcuts, years of letting your inner world lead your outer expansion. And now the future bends around that consistency. The paths that will open after you for those you mentor, those you invest in, those you stabilize, are part of your inheritance too. They will never know all your sacrifices. They will never see all your restraint, but they will benefit from the ground you made firm. This is the final inversion. The greatest wealth you will ever generate is not what flows to you, but what flows through you and continues moving long after your direct involvement ends. This is the mark of the chosen one fulfilled. Not accumulation, not recognition, but contribution without depletion, influence without erosion, prosperity that does not poison the well. You are no longer preparing for this role, you are living it. And from this point forward, every aligned decision you make quietly rewrites the future in ways you may never fully witness. That is legacy, and it has already begun. Chosen one, now you let it settle, not as an idea, not as inspiration, but as a quiet knowing that does not need to announce itself. Everything that needed to be awakened has already been awakened. Everything that needed to be named has been named. What remains is embodiment. This is the part that feels almost ordinary, and that is how you know it is real. The urgency softens here, not because the calling weakened, but because it no longer needs to shout to be obeyed. You are not waiting anymore. You are walking, not rushing, not hesitating, just moving in rhythm with what you already recognize as true. There will be days that feel quiet. Do not mistake them for stagnation. Quiet is where alignment stabilizes. There will be moments when nothing dramatic happens. Do not interrupt them. Continuity is the architecture of legacy. Remember this. You do not need to convince the world of who you are becoming. The world responds to coherence long before it responds to claims. Let your inner order do the speaking. You will feel temptation to explain yourself. Release it. Explanation is for those who doubt their own grounding. You will feel temptation to accelerate. Resist it. What is aligned does not need urgency to survive. You will feel temptation to look back and measure progress. Be gentle here. Growth that is meant to last rarely looks impressive while it is happening. Instead, notice the subtler signs. How your reactions have slowed, how your decisions feel cleaner, how what once disturbed you no longer hooks your attention. These are not small things. They are evidence that something has reorganized at the center. From here on, your task is simple, though not easy. Stay accurate, stay regulated, stay honest with yourself even when no one else is watching. You are not responsible for forcing outcomes. You are responsible for remaining aligned enough to receive them without distortion. That is the work now, and it is enough. When doubt returns, as it sometimes will, do not argue with it. Just return to what you already know in your body. You did not arrive here by accident. You did not endure refinement for nothing. You are not imagining the shift. You are simply early. So walk steadily. Choose depth over display. Let time do what force never could. What is meant to move through you will arrive in its own rhythm, and when it does, you will recognize it not by excitement, but by peace.